Quenching Ugin feels pretty good. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for taking the time to watch Hello Good Game. Today we have something very special for you. This is a secret deck that the pros are using to push their rank into high Mythic. This is brought to you by Killer Dub. He pushed this easily into top 50, top 100, easily being stable with, right? But his top rank was 50, I believe. So we're going to take a look at the deck list. We're talking about all of the individual cards. What do they all do? Then we're breaking down the deck's archetypes and synergies. How do all of the cards within the deck make a coherent strategy? Then we're going to slide into the gameplay footage where we break down all of the interactions and playlines we can find within the new Core Set 2021 meta. Finally, we have my closing thoughts, any adjustments to the decks that I personally would like to make. Normally we do upgrade guides if it's free to play. If they are maxed out decks like this one, we'll do alternative build routes, maybe alternative cards, in case you don't have all of the rares or mythics within this particular deck. So buckle in. I hope you're ready, you guys. As always, if you find any value within this video, go ahead, give me a thumbs up and share it out to a friend. It's a Simic Flash / Tempo deck, which is really cool. And it starts out with 4 copies of Quench. This is a 2-drop instant speed counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. 4 copies of Cunning Nightbonder, a 2/2 with Flash. Spells you control with Flash cost 1 less to cast and can't be countered. 4 copies of Growth Spiral, the most broken common in the game. Instant speed, you draw a card and you may play a land from your hand into the battlefield, which is just absolutely amazing. We also have Petty Theft as a 2-drop. This is an instant adventure. Return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. And then Brazen Borrower, which is the creature that the instant is attached to, is a 3/1 with flash and flying and can only block creatures with flying. On to our 4-drops. 4 copies of Rewind, an instant counter target spell, untap up to 4 lands. Nightpack Ambusher, a 4/4 with flash. Other wolves and werewolves you control get +1/+1 at the beginning of your end step. If you didn't cast a spell this turn, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. 2 copies of Frilled Mystic. This is a 3/2 with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, you may counter target spell. 4 copies of Voracious Greatshark. This is a 5/4 with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, counter target artifact or creature spell. We also have 4 copies of Dream Eater, a 4/3 with flash and flying. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 4. When you do, you may return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. These spells are accompanied by 4 Castle Vantresses, pay 5, scry 2, 4 islands, 4 forests, 4 breeding pools, tap for a forest or an island, 3 Temple of Mysteries. The same goes as breeding pools, but it enters tapped instead of having the option to be paid 2 life for. However, we do get the scry 1 on the Temple of Mystery here, and actually we have 4 of them. They're just different arts. 2 Triomes. Now, I know what you're saying. We don't use black. Why are we using the Triome? We have the Triome in the deck because of the cycling. There's nothing worse than flooding, pulling a land, and just being stuck with another land on top of the 8 you already have. Top deck a Triome, you can cycle it away and try to pull that spell that you're looking for. We also have 4 Fabled Passages. This just really makes the deck consistent. It's really important to us to be dropping our Nightpack Ambusher and stuff ahead of time. So Fabled Passage will ensure that we have the correct land to do so. That's the deck. We are playing traditional standards today, which means best of 3. We've incorporated the sideboard. It consists of 4 copies of Aether Gust, an instant for 2. Choose target spell or permanent that's red or green. Its owners puts it on the top or bottom of their library. They get to choose. 3 copies of Negate, another instant for 2. Counter target non-creature spell. That's extremely powerful. 4 copies of Warrant / Warden. Warrant is instant. Warden is sorcery. So that's kind of a bit of a bummer. Warrant, put target attacking or blocking creature on top of its owner's library. And then Warden, create a 4/4 white and blue Sphinx creature token with flying and vigilance. And then, of course, 4 copies of Mystical Dispute, an instant for 3. You can cast it for 1 if it targets a blue spell, counter target spell, unless its controller pays 3. So that's the deck list. Let's begin to break down some of the deck strategies and how you want to play this deck out on the field for your first match, right? It is based on playing everything on your opponent's turn, primarily, right? You should never really be playing on your turn unless something is forcing you to, such as a Teferi, such as your opponent playing a counter deck and being tapped out because you played on his turn, which tapped his mana and now allows you to play on your turn. So you really always want to be playing your spells on your opponent's turn within this deck. And So the great thing about it is we have Growth Spiral, and a lot of the meta is using Growth Spiral purely as a ramp engine. They're not using Quenches or Mystical Disputes or Negates behind it. So they're playing Growth Spiral main phase, not holding up their mana for a Quench, right? Growth Spiral should always, like we're just mentioned, be played on your opponent's turn, because now we've got 2 untapped mana. We can threaten a Quench if he plays something very good, especially if he was on the play and now he's playing his 3rd land about to play Teferi. We can counter that Teferi easily. And then if there's not something that we need to counter, now we can Growth Spiral. Now we can ramp and draw and continue on, right? Playing on our turn, drawing again. Well, actually not playing on our turn, and then passing immediately back to our opponent. And that's a repeatable offense that we can do while holding up counters, not using the mana because he didn't play maybe anything that warranted a counter or just anything at all, which allows us to either A, Growth Spiral, or B, start putting some flash creatures into the field. The first, Cunning Nightbonder, right? So this is a high priority to play if you don't have to counter, if you don't have a Growth Spiral, right? It's going to make your flash spells cost less, and they can't be countered. And it's that second part of your spells can't be countered. That's really incredible. Yes, having like the Nightpack Ambusher be cheaper is really, really cool, but having it be uncounterable is even cooler. So that's why it's really nice to get Nightbonder out. It's reducing the cost of the rest of your spells, and it's making it so that your spells with flash can't be countered. So that's really nice to get out onto the field first. If not, it is a tempo style deck, right? Which means Brazen Borrower. If there's nothing that Petty Theft hits, don't be scared to play Brazen Borrower as the 3/1 on your end step if you've got nothing else to do, because now you can just start attacking and force them into doing something, and then you can counter what they're going to do, right? Because playing it on your end step allows your mana to untap on your draw step or whatever, so you'll be able to protect it then. Like there's so many powerful counters within this deck as well. Normally you are always trying to counter, and if you don't have to counter, then you play something else, right? And then you just kind of ride your way up the mana curve while still following that set of rules. And that means, like, if you've got 2 mana and you didn't have to counter, you play your Bonder. If you've got 3 mana and you didn't have to counter, play your Borrower, and then so on and so forth. Ambusher is the exact same thing. If they're not playing anything you need to counter, that's great. I really like to prioritize my Frilled Mystic on non-creature spells. We're talking Planeswalkers, sorceries, and instances, because Voracious Greatshark can take care of all of our creatures for us quite easily, and artifacts. So make sure that we are hitting non-creatures, non-artifacts with our Frilled Mystic as a priority, because we'll have plenty of Voracious Greatsharks to deal with the creatures and artifacts. So that's a nice little priority trick for you there. You also want to make sure that you're using your Quench as early in-game as possible, because as your opponent ramps, he'll easily be able to pay 2. So this needs to be prioritized early game, or as they are trying to ramp and like they get to their 7th mana and they're trying to go for an ultimatum, boom, right? So you really want to prioritize your Quench and make sure that it is going to work depending on what deck they're playing. And like any match, you're going to need to distinguish what deck your opponent's playing and then start to engineer a plan to play around it the most efficiently. The Dream Eater can bounce non-land permanent, which is kind of like a Teferi, very expensive though because it costs 6. The nice thing here, we get to Surveil 4, which is going to help us pull any counter spells that we need for the late game, which is really, really cool. And then it's also bouncing things that may be holding up our attack lanes through our tempo attackers, such as our Borrower or our Ambusher, right? So that's a pretty cool play. It does have flying, let's keep in mind, right, which is really nice. The Brazen Borrower also has flying, so it's pretty cool to get in with that flying damage if you can. If not, like the Nightpack Ambusher should do damage eventually. You may need to take a couple turns off, maybe sacrifice some health points, take some damage while your Ambusher grows and creates those pups. Don't ever chump block with your Ambusher if you know it's going to die. You really want to just like sacrifice a few hit points, leave them on the field, protect them, and then once you have enough wolf tokens, those can do the chump blocking and trade with your opponent's creatures, right? Again, Petty Theft, anything that you bounce tokens don't go to their hand, they just die. So it's really nice to bounce tokens with Petty Theft. If Planeswalker is about the ultimate, Petty Theft works really great as well, same as the Dream Eater. That's basically it. Fabled Passage, like we said, really helps us pull either the blue or green lands, depending. The Triome can be cycled and then is both blue and green as well. So if you get it off the start, play it. If you get it late game, you cycle it. As easy as that. And then remember to hit your Castle Vantress for the scry too. There's a ton of value in scrying with your held up mana. Again, in the late game, you may not have all the creatures to play with Flash if you're not countering. But if you're not countering, you're always going to have a Castle Vantress if it's on the field to use for 5 mana. So that's a really nice mana sink there as well. That should get you through game 1. After game 1, you already know what your opponent's playing, and you're going to know whether or not your deck worked well in certain aspects or not. So if he didn't have any creature spells, right? If you're playing a control match, I always think of like what was good in my deck that round and what was bad. So if, for example, he was playing a control deck with no creatures, we know that Voracious Greatshark is a dead card. There's no artifacts, for example, and there's no creatures. So we can sub out Voracious Greatshark, and he's playing a counterspell deck, still has blue, made Mystical Dispute. It's higher value than our Greatshark. Obviously, Greatshark is like just a tempo attacker, which is easily countered by a Mystical Dispute because it's blue. The Flash is nice, but he's not going to be countering any creature spells, so that's dead value there, so you'd be better off to take something else in its place. And the same thing goes for the rest of the deck, right? Were there Planeswalkers? Do you need to take negates? Were there creatures with haste? Do you need wardens? For example, Questing Beast is really nice to deal with that. Aether Gust, anything green or red is just nice to deal with. Kind of stuttering them. It is a tempo style deck, so having them put it on the top of their library or back into their hand is a really good play because it will give you another turn and another, not a full turn, but it's a little bit because they've got to respend that mana again, right, on their next turn. So it's going to give you that wiggle room to get that tempo damage in to kill your opponent. So always just think, what was really bad in my deck within that match, and what can I take from the sideboard that's going to have higher value than what was bad? And this is just going to be the habit you guys are going to build while sideboarding. Again, it's a lot to build a complete sideboard guide for you guys. We could probably bug Kill a Dove for a sideboard guide. He might be kind enough to hit us up with one. He was the engineer behind us, taking it to top 50 Mythic, I'll remind you guys. So the secret deck that the pros use to climb ranked while nobody's looking is Simic Flash / Simic Tempo, and a very powerful deck, especially within the current meta. We were talking about this on our Friday night podcast with MTG Jeff and Dr. Spillikin, that, you know what, I think Simic Flash or Simic Tempo is going to start to rise within the meta and even maybe see some tournament play and try to just tempo out some of these big ramp decks that want to just play right into Ugin. So that was the deck list. This was the deck strategy and general sideboard guide, I guess, right? If you guys find any value within this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share to a friend, and hit that bell icon so you're notified of all of our future uploads. We're live on YouTube every single morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Standard. Around 7 a.m. we go live on Twitch, and then we are live in the Discord literally for our entire lives the rest of the day until we fall asleep late at night. So it's a great place to engage with me live, no matter where you are, what time of day it is. So come say hello. I'd really appreciate your company, and we're looking forward to having you. Thanks for all of your support, you guys. I really appreciate it. Your time, your attention, the people supporting the channel financially. You're absolutely incredible. Mythic creatures for sure. Thanks for watching. Enjoy today's gameplay footage. Don't forget to stick around to the end so you can kind of feel out my thoughts on the deck, maybe some alternative build routes if you don't have all the rares and mythics, and yeah, our plans for future content for the rest of the week. So take care, enjoy the match, and we'll see you soon. We're going to play first here. We do love playing first. And that's nice land, right? Having that growth spiral in opening hand is very nice. Lets us get that breeding pool in. One, two, three, costs less. I think we can toss it for now and just assume that we'll pull a fourth land for a rewind as we continue. We're going to hold up our Quench here, right? That's something that a lot of people don't do because we could be a Bant ramp and we might not have the Quench, so a lot of people just play through like it doesn't exist right now. And I guess we will as well. What? Interesting. I'm not sure that a growth spiral ever warrants countering. I don't know. I don't think so. Alright. Struggling with our internet. Playing our Castle Vantress. I feel like we were going to cast our Nightbonder on our end step there, but didn't. We will double cast them this turn, though. See, now, I'm not countering his Growth Spiral. I have no need for that. Go ahead. Draw a card. Play a land. Not worried. So this is his whole turn. So we're going to flash in our Bonder. And normally Paradise Druid is not something I would counter either, but... What? So, man. So I'm going to let him dispute the Bonder. And then I'm still going to Quench the Druid. What a guy. Plenty of green, we just need blue. We can end our turn. We do have Castle Vantress to start activating. Not worried about the Growth Spiral. What I am worried about is how full his hand is. Let's toss our Bonder out. Play our land, start attacking, and I think we're going to cycle this Triome. Cavalier is definitely something that warrants countering. Right? Quick little rewind. What? We already had all of our lands selected. That's funny. Fortunately, we did get enough to cycle our Triome. Right? Oh, Lord. And, yeah, we're in here. We can counter a creature spell, unfortunately. I don't think he's playing with too many creatures. Oh, what a perfect creature to counter, though. That is tasty. Lord. Lethal next turn. We're going to hold Breeding Pool in our hand, pretend it's a counter, and activate our Castle Vantress. He needs a Storm's Wrath. -4/-4 to everything. The Genesis Ultimatum is a card that I would absolutely love to counter. So this is straight up Temur. Oh, he must have whiffed. Okay, so we know exactly what's happening. Genesis Ultimatum is a pretty easy counter. And I think we got incredibly lucky with this Greatshark. We want to be countering his Genesis pretty hard. I think the Greatshark can generally go. The bounce won't be enough because of how many cards it brings into play. So let's keep our Greatsharks. And then, like, I think these Mystical Disputes are pretty dirty. Let's channel our counters a little bit more aggro. Aether Gust's potentially good, but maybe not. This is a lot of land. The Scry is fine, though. We have no counters. And opponent goes first. No ramp either. Let's keep it. Brazen Borrower is a force to be reckoned with. We definitely don't need more land. Let's just start getting rid of it. Our opponent is ramping a little bit more efficiently this time. We're going to pay 2 life here, pretend like we have a counter, and then we're spiraling in a temple. Really? This guy does not like ramp, right? Yeah, don't need the land, like we talked about. Could drop 5. Should we stutter his land or take what he plays? I don't know. Let's take what he plays. If he doesn't play anything, we can Nightbond, which helps our Ambusher. Yeah, okay. Growth Spiral, that's fine. This will activate our Nightpack Ambusher, and we're holding up our Mystical Dispute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's ready to drop 7. Hopefully we can counter this ultimatum here. That was the plan. That's the 7th land, so if he's got it in hand... We could counter it, but then we've got nothing for the ultimatum, so... You know what? It's gonna resolve. Let's get that Ambusher, and that's gonna have, like, a lot of chump block capabilities for us. And then more counters, that's perfect. Just passing our turn here, making the pup. Pays life. Yeah. He can only pay 1? I'm reading that correctly? Quenching Ugin feels pretty good. Nice big attack here, hitting in for 7. Down to 11, and we 100% have him choked up here. That's game. Rewinding this. Untapping our land correctly this time. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. And then he cycles the Triome. That's all of his mana for the turn, so yeah, good game. 2 in a row. You cannot beat the Counterspell Fury. This is an awkward hand, right? We're playing very slow. Growth Spiral no longer becomes viable as it's not hitting till like turn 3. So opponent goes first. We'd have the chance to draw an untapped land. We could play our Temple. Have a second chance to draw an untapped land for our Growth Spiral. So it could work, but that's exactly how that route has to go. And if we don't get that exact route, it's gonna be pretty hard. So, being that we thought of it, it's possible. We should do it. First and foremost, if you can imagine it, like realistically through the cards you have, it should work. We did whiff on the first, whiff on the second. right? We have one more chance to draw that land off the top. And it needs to be untapped. And we're 0 for 3. Or 0 for 2. Oh, whew. Really? Rewind's a good pick. Yeah. You know, Ambusher and Borrower are also really good picks. Dream Eater is a little expensive. And we whiff on the land. Bummer. We don't really search our library. Okay. We do need a land off the top. Perfect. Yeah. I'd almost rather counter spells. We're gonna play our Fabled Passage because he's seen it. He doesn't see the Vantress. Oh my lord. Oops. That's one thing I never thought of. Ashiok 100% shuts down Fabled Passages. Oh my lord. Idiot! Right? Have you guys ever run into Ashiok shutting down your Fabled Passage? That's the first time that's ever happened to me. I've never even thought of it. And it's funny because we just read it out loud. We're like, oh, we don't have anything that does that. Oh, goodness gracious. Alright, it's his turn. He knows we have Nightpack. So, I mean, I guess let's see if he's got counter spells or not. He went into his turn with open mana, so maybe only one counter spell and he's really trying to hold on to it. No, he's going all in here. We're not going to play our Nightpack until after the ability hits because we don't want the -3. Right? There we go.
Domain. Creeping, thieving progeny.
He's just going to try to eat our library, and we need to go wider than he can, quicker than he can. We're setting a stop on his upkeep before his mana untaps. Right? Oh no, he's his mana's already untapped. Let's keep it a secret. Let him have his draw. He's creating his dude, sure.
All your fears are given form.
We're down to what, like 26 now? No, I guess we're staying at 30. Scry is fine. Ashioks are just, like, threatening. Like, this -7 could really hurt us, substantially. We're keeping him from his ultimate here. And then we're playing our Borrower in as a flyer, which can kill his other renderer. Okay, we had no counter magic anyways, so it's just something that happens. We have the ability to play on our turn here, though. Right? Just no more Borrower. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could go to 6. I think we have plenty of life, so it's not much of a thing. And now Dream Eater is viable. We have another Ambusher.
Listen to my whispers. And
We're at 29. We've got to make something happen pretty quick. I think we just go pure aggro in the air tempo way. So he's not done anything here. He's gone to attackers. He can't activate this instant speed. So his Ashiok hit the field, didn't use an ability, and now is going back to his hand. We are getting rid of everything we don't want. Quench, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He could outpace Quench. I think we'll keep the Ambusher for now. And then we're bouncing the Ashiok that wasn't able to do anything this turn. He has no mana to replay it. Gets the exile, sure. But we do get the kill here. We're in the air for 7. Alright. Nice damage. We're gonna chill. We do have the option for the Borrower. Right, if we bounce whatever he does, we should be good. He plays the Rider. Interesting. He's worried about his life total. That keeps him from his Ashiok. Let's try to force the block with our Ambusher. It's a nice play. Get the kill on his second token. Very nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The God Eternals. This just bounced an opponent's card, which is a bummer. So our Ambusher dies. Okay. He gains some life. He mills us down to 17. We're going to need to deal with this somehow. Obviously, let's bounce the 4/4. Play the land, hit for 7. Let's just take a main phase growth, why not? And our turn, that's fine. We do have 10 in the air, let's keep in mind. So he's gonna bounce Dream Eater with a -3. And then we're going to discard his Dream Eater, so he's not going to really know what happened. When we play it next turn. Right? -3. Let's just exile it. He should not be attacking. He only gains 2 life here. But now he has no blockers, so our wolf can attack for that exact 2 damage. Borrower comes in. That is 6 in the air. Plus a Quench. Taking him down. Killing Ashiok. Only 2 cards left. And we're sitting on a Dream Eater to bounce. Hopefully actually not the Rider. Because it can remove something, right? But we'll still have lethal. So he could pay 2. Do we make him do it anyways? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we can't Quench and Dream Eater, so I don't want to throw our one play away.
The regrets of the dead are the sweetest ingredient.
This is fine. We now have lethal in the air. We're gonna bounce this. Good game. Cool, so we get the first match in, right? Pretty clutch. There's a lot going on here. A lot of Ashioks, right? So he was straight up exiling and milling us. And this Fabled Passage really boned us. We don't want that whatsoever. But we don't have any other land to take in its place. Ouch. Right? So that means we have to counter Ashiok, which is Mystical Dispute. I didn't see a lot of creatures, especially being cast as creature spells. So I think the Shark can go. And now we have the Disputes. I think the Negates are also really, really good right here. And we should probably trade this really heavy, gross Dream Eater. And now just play a more low-to-the-ground aggro-style match. Warrant's really nice in matches alongside Aether Gust against haste creatures. I don't think we've seen any of that, though, so we're going to progress. Our opponent's on the play. Land looks good, especially with these Growth Spirals. The Triome is also an island, which is really cool for the Vantresses. Or I guess the castles in general. Pretending we have a Quench. We're going to just basically flood into this Nightpack and then try to protect it with our Negate. Well, I guess we're going to try to draw another Negate. Ask and ye shall receive. We have quite a few Castle Vantresses too. That's unlikely. Just crushing these Planeswalkers. We do need a secondary forest for our wolf, though. Perfecto. Ending our turn. We can double Growth Spiral, put all of our lands into the field, draw 2 cards. Or we can ambush. We're going to Growth Spiral and try to draw a counter. It could be a Mystical Dispute. Oh! Woo! Ouch! 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's cycle it. Try to get our Ambusher in play. I'm expecting some counter spells on his end, right? Yeah, Murderous Rider, you know what I mean? He's got creature removal as well. Let's take that Scry. I like that. The thing is, how do we scry for 3, cast for 4 with 6 land? Alright, let's take the attack. Alright. So he's looking at the top, and he gets to put it into his graveyard, and he chooses not to. Okay, we're going to end turn here. If he plays a Planeswalker, we could cycle our Triome for a counter. No, okay, we go back in with our Ambusher. Okay, now we have protection for it. I am absolutely okay with this. Let's try to attack again. We land our first hit. And in our turn, making our pup. He takes his scry. So this is his turn, which is a lot of fun. So we burn the rider. Goes to the grave. It's one of the only ways to keep it from going back to his library. No way. And they're all even. That's clutch extinction event. Nice. Ouchie. We should let Murderous Rider hit. Alright, we have plenty of Castle Vantresses. The Borrower's good. We are in a top deck zone. He's got Castle Lochthwain. Right? He has to draw more cards than we do. Using a lot of his mana already, though. Yeah, okay, go ahead. It's a breeding pool, my friend. Still pretty high value play right now because of the Surveil 1. He gets to look at the top card of his library. Leave it there, throw it in the grave. Let's castle out. Mystical Dispute is no longer relevant. I will keep the Borrower, though. Quench is also no longer relevant. Let's go right for it. If he has removal, he has to use it. We don't want to just play the long con because he's going to get to his Planeswalkers, right? And that's really bad. That Castle Lochthwain's really saving him. Is the Bonder good? It's better than no creature, but I don't think it's good. We need some big bodies. We need the wolves. We need the Frilled Mystics of the game. But if we draw land, I'm cursed. A creature is better than a land. Scry 1 to the top is kind of like worrisome for him as well. so many land. Alright, let's get our Bonder out. Just a little bit of aggro. Take our Scry. Borrower can stay, Passage can go. Castle Vantress is 5, 3, 4, 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4. Okay. So we're going to play this island. Just so potentially we can double activate our castle. Brazen Borrower is nice to have in hand. I'd prefer negate. Right? Okay. Borrower comes in. More flash aggro. Let's take that Scry as well. Another Borrower, please and thank you. Down to 8. This is looking a little bit better. And he's not looking to do any more Castle Lochthwain. He's all about the Vantress now. Doesn't want to lose life. Well, this is definitely something.
The past, present, and future are bound by... I have just the trick for this.
Eliminate. Very nice. Yep. Let's get this Borrower back in play. Let's take our Scry too. We need more fire. Oh no. Oh no. Let's get rid of those. Oof. We have to take the turn off to kill Narset. We get it, that's really nice. And we're holding the forest in our hand. We have our 10 land for a double castle. So we're straight chilling. That's really nice. The 4/4 plus 4 life is very good. Ouch. Let's take our Scries. Oh man. We need the wolf. Passing our turn. We need to dodge this whole turn, right? We need him just to totally whiff on the Scry 2 plus his draw. And then we need to play the wolf, take 4 damage for a turn, like take a turn off, and make those 2 pups to kill it. And then hold our negate up for everything else. Deep breaths. If only negate was already in our hand to protect our wolf. That would be really cool. Let's see what's underneath our negate. Dispute can go. Ugh, he's not going to let us draw it. Nice. Okay, good play. Really good play. Yeah, that's what we were worried about. And now Murderous Rider is also a creature that's able to enter the battlefield, so 2 times the bad news. He was on the play though, so we did very well for ourselves, I think. this match shouldn't have gone this long, but that crazy double growth spiral into a mystical dispute gave us so much value. That was really quite nice. I guess, I don't know, like, I just feel like he's baiting our counter, but I also feel like he's been sitting on these 2 cards for a long time, and I feel like if one of them was a 5-cost Ashiok, we would have seen it. Down to 12, that's not very friendly. Take our scry. Creatures chump block at this point while we wait for our wolf to build. We can chump block the rider. Well, it's not really even a chump block, that's a big boy block. He thinks he's got plenty of life gain, so he goes down to 7. Probably still a really good play. Another rider. Ugh. Nice. So he's dealing 6 damage here. Nightbonder's not really very good for us anymore. So we're a little too low to the ground. Let's see what we get off the top. It's got to be something pretty good. Well, that's not going to do it. That is game. Let's see how we make out in round number 3. That is annoying, that's for sure. These mystical disputes are much better if they hit off the start. I think they will. I don't think there's too many changes we need to make. We already sideboarded appropriately. Oh, look in that good draw hand, right? This isn't bad, right? We do have that growth spiral dispute availability. Looking for lands. We have 2 forests, so we're just looking for our 4th land. I don't think we'll see anything for 1. Growth Spiral draws a card. This doesn't really matter. I'm going to play the Fabled Passage first, though. Just because it increases the chance that we'll draw a non-land permanent, such as a Dispute. 4th land in play. We're ready to counter. We're ready to ambush. We just have to go for it, even though we know he's got a rider. Okay, we're safe. We should have just won the game. Right? Easy as that. And our turn, make the wolf, and we have complete and total protection in our hand. Using the mystical disputes first, while he can't afford to pay for them. Another Nightpack. Even if he does have removal, the second will replace the first. Yep. That's fine. We do get the removal from his hand, which is quite nice. In for 7, down to 9. And we have lethal next turn. The power of being on the play. We almost won on the draw as well, which is pretty cool. right? Ashiok, we'll hit him with a rewind first, even though he's got no mana for anything else. We should have Frilled Mystic. But nonetheless, I guess we still could have because our land was untapped. That's an incredible game. Well, what a second match. All right, big shout out to a fellow Team Aether teammate, Killer Dub, with the sick Simic Tempo / Simic Flash deck for standard traditional best of 3, right? He pushed it into top 50, I think is fluctuating between top 100 and top 50. So an incredibly powerful deck within the new meta. Probably not tournament viable yet. But again, these things kind of do have the potential to be, just because of the pace that they can set. Just like a mono red deck, just has the potential to win on turn 3 or turn 4. And then the potential exists for you to do that 10 matches in a row. It's just an incredibly risky lottery to be playing. So obviously your chances, if you were playing the odds in a tournament environment, would be better off playing Bant Ramp or Temur Expansion Explosion Wreck, something like this. However, in the current MTG Arena Q meta, I think this is great. You know what? It's so easy to shut down decks that aren't used to playing against you, right? Like, yes, the Bant decks are great and they're very good, but the majority of those players are piloting those decks are not NPL players, and they have maybe little knowledge of the entire meta that's available and are just fine-tuned with those tier 1 decks, right? Like, they can beat the Rakdos Sacrifice, they can beat Expansion Reclamation, and they can beat other Bant decks, etc., or Sultai, right? But they're not going to be used to playing against decks like this. They're a little bit off meta, but still very, very strong in dealing with the current meta, so that's really cool. I recommend pushing this if you're looking to hit Mythic this month. If you don't have some of the cards, it's easily interchangeable. Like, Dream Eater is a Mythic that rotates out right away, so obviously you're probably not going to want to buy a Dream Eater. However, we got pretty old Frilled Mystic here sitting down at 2 copies. It's still a flash creature, doesn't have flying, doesn't bounce a creature, but it can counter it on it coming to the field. And not only a creature, well, I guess Dream Eater is non-land permanent, so Frilled Mystic just counters anything as well for you. But there's easy things like that, right? So the Dream Eater can be changed, and you can add more Frilled Mystics, right? There is the Colossus Dismissal as well. You can also just immediately pull things from your sideboard. Obviously, like these negates will be pretty cool. Mystical Disputes potentially as well. Any other flash creatures, we do have a few of them available to us within the meta. Spectral Sailor comes to mind as an example. This is just a nice tempo flyer that can still draw you cards later on. So Fairy Vandal as well. So really any flash flyer is a very nice replacement for Dream Eater, because that's exactly what it is a flash flyer. And then again, if there's other effects tagged to those creatures, like Spectral Sailor has, like Fairy Vandal has, then you're getting some of that additional value back, maybe in a different direction as well. So you can trim the deck. Obviously, the Triomes are in there for added spice. The Fabled Passages are in there for consistency. Obviously, I really recommend having the breeding pools. And some of the Castle Vantresses, maybe 4 stretch, just to make it super consistent and powerful, because we are pushing into the top Mythic with some of these cards, right, that aren't really meta quality. So you can trim the power back a little bit, but keep it the same, right? Like, you want to keep the amount of counters the same. You want to keep the amount of creatures the same if you can. That's why Dream Eater for Frilled Mystic is a really nice exchange, for an example. To trim the amount of mythics. Brazen Borrower is great. I almost would recommend keeping that. And Nightpack Ambusher really helps you set the pace of the deck as well. So you can trim it. There's different ways. Remember to keep the creatures being flying and flash if possible. You can always incorporate more counter spells. That's not ever really a bad idea. Maybe a little bit of light draw, if you can sneak some more draw in there as well. Spectral Sailor. It handles all of those situations, right? So that's a really nice budget card to be putting into this deck. With that being said, you guys, I'm live on YouTube every morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Standard. At around 7 a.m., we do go live on Twitch for 3 to 4 hours. After that, we're in the Discord engaging with the community for the rest of the day. We've got like 1,400 members now. beginners to experts, some of the top ranked Mythic players in the world hang out and chat there. So come say hello, share your experience. Maybe you need some help building or fine tuning one of your decks. It's a great community for you to do so. We also have free to enter cash prize tournaments, Brawl, Artisan. So come put your hand in the hat for some prize money to increase your Magic the Gathering Arena collection. Jumpstart is either out or on its way out. I think it'll be out for a few days now because we're pre-produced by quite a few days. Ooh, a bad thing and a good thing. So we're going to be switching it up. We're going to be playing free-to-play historic decks in the coming days. So I hope you guys are really looking forward to diving into some of this Jumpstart material. I know the bridge remains ungapped between standard players and historic players, and it will be my purpose in the following months until rotation to help bridge that gap and bring the standard player base nicely, friendly, comfortably into historic without any resentment, without any negative feelings towards it, right? Because it's going to be a great environment, and you got to remember, if you're playing free to play in standard, when you go free to play historic, you have a ton more utility, and we can really buff up the power of some of these free to play decks in historic. So I hope you're all looking forward to that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share to a friend, hit the bell icon, and all that good stuff, right? Take care, you guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.